afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I wanted to get on and talk about this because I talk about mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and sexual health so much. And, the elephant in the room is often stress. But when we talk about stress, it's like we have normalized so many things that are impacting us in really, big ways and sometimes small but insidious ways, or, like they're just, it's unrelenting, right? There's so much going on in the world that's, really disturbing and stressful, right? And then when we boil it down and when we go from macro into micro, there's so many people feeling the stress of just trying to get through the day, right? And so the impacts this has on us individually are huge. And we're trying to find ways to mitigate it, to sometimes avoid it. So there's some escapism happening, and it's just, we need to stop normalizing things that are really, really stressful and traumatic, right? We need to give voice to what people are experiencing more, and not just like in a negative, ranting kind of, I'm going to get on and just, spew all the things that are going on with my life that are not necessarily working well, because like that there's places and times and spaces for that kind of sharing, right? And it is sometimes cathartic to have, to be able to voice, things that are going on for you. And I know that in the past I've really had the benefit of having great friends who we would allow each other, and like it was, I call it, I'm using Esther Perel's phrase, juicy kvetching, because I really love how much that embodies what I was a part of. Because, when you have people in your life that you can get together with and share, some of the negative stuff that's going on, but in a way that feels validated and heard. And I think, some people are better at that, obviously. It's something that I've worked hard to be able to do that. And then, so as a friend, I, would want, like, I hope that I'm good at, at being a good listener. I work at that. And then as, someone who works one-on-one with clients, part of my training was to learn how to be a better listener. And so despite the fact that I get on here, pretty much almost every day and talk, my intention is to normalize the pain that people are feeling. Like if we're going to quote unquote normalize something, let's do that instead of continuing to downplay and, almost gaslight people who are sharing, who are wanting to share their pain. And, sometimes people don't necessarily know how to do that in a way that other people can hear it easily. And so you have to sort of take a step back sometimes and truly listen to what that person is saying, or at least try to empathize with the pain that they must be feeling in order to say those things. And that's how I get by on being so vocal and being out there on social media, because I've reached a point where in my life where if I do get negative feedback, I mean, I'm going to try to look for a grain of truth to it. If there's one to be had, I'm looking for constructive criticism. So if there is some critical thought that someone shares with me about the things that I say, then I take that on board and I just kind of I think, is this constructive? Can I learn something about myself from this? Or what is it triggering for me if it's triggering something, right? And then that allows me to take what I need from it if there's something to be had. And if there isn't, then because I can work on, if it did trigger something inside of me, I can understand where that really truly comes from. And then I can maybe understand where they're coming from, right? So we need to understand that other people will express their pain in ways that we might not think are acceptable. But pain is pain, and I think there's so many people who are struggling, and you ask people how they're doing and they're like, "Oh, I'm so stressed." And when you ask further, well, what does that mean? What does so stressed mean for you, right? Then you hear, well, I'm exhausted, or I feel like I'm pulled in a million different directions. I feel like I'm barely holding it together. Or I feel very alone. I feel overwhelmed. Like those are the sort of things that come up when you dig a little bit deeper, because we're all feeling stressed. But it's like, to what level of stress, right? And then, if we're not finding healthy ways to be able to express it and to feel it and to, you know, learn from it if we need to learn from it, or feel, some energetic healing from someone else when we share it, or whatever it is that we're needing in that moment, right? Like if we have ways of getting that, then the stressors don't go away, but we feel much more supported in being able to manage our lives through these incredibly challenging times, right? So, that comes down to community, and our community might just be like, for some people their community is incredibly small, it's just a few people. And if your relationship is where you go for support and you're not getting it, then we need to figure out why, right? Is that other person needing to do some work themselves, gain some skills, gain some wisdom and insight? Like maybe they need some guidance, but it's really hard for you to give guidance to someone else to get the support that you need, right? That's a lot of emotional labor. So that's where, I think it's really important to know that there are people like myself who are around the world in all different time zones and in different languages and come from different backgrounds, who work on, the internet and see clients online, so that we can at least, for me, it's about like being that support for someone else who might not have a group of people that they can get together with for some juicy kvetching, or maybe they don't have a supportive partner that they can go to with their feelings and feel validated and supported. Maybe they're alone and needing extra support, right? So that's where community building can come from, because maybe the first step in the community building for you is getting to a place of balance and stability and strength and safety within yourself, to be able to then start to resource yourself more, right? And that's what I help to do for a lot of people who are struggling with feeling exhausted and depleted, and it's affecting their relationships. They're feeling unnurtured and malnourished spiritually and emotionally. That's part of the reason why I come on and talk about these things as much as I do, right? Not just to, grow my business, because that's part of it, but this allows me to let people know that they're not alone. So even if you never become a client of mine, or you never reach out to me, sometimes just knowing that you're not alone, that other people see you and hear you and know that you're struggling, and that that we're all kind of dealing with our own stuff, but like we're all dealing with a lot of stuff, right? Like, so, globally and right down to micro, like we're all feeling it. We're feeling that energy. We're feeling what's going on around us. It's, our environment is a big part of our well-being. So, filling your environment with things that are nourishing and healthy for you is a priority. And I help women and LGBTQ plus folks find themselves through a process of, creating space and being with them to do that, work themselves, and feel safe and contained and nurtured through the process. So if I can help in any way, and even if the groups that I'm talking about helping, if you don't fit into that, please feel free to reach out anyways. I have a network of people that I can reach out to who work in all kinds of different fields, who help different kinds of people with different kinds of problems, right? So if I'm not the right one, I'll help you maybe find the right one, and at least maybe start you in a place of like, exploring, right? Maybe you've never done therapy before, or you've never seen a coach before, or you've never gone to counseling before. You have no idea what to expect, or maybe you have and you haven't had great experiences. I get that. I really do believe that the right kind of therapy and the right point in your life can make a huge difference. And so if you want to find out if the kind of therapy that I do and the kind of work that I do with people is the right kind for you in this moment, then just book a free 45-minute call. We'll go over what's going on for you, and then we'll discuss whether what I do could be helpful, and then we can go from there. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.